8 minutes after the hour of a cool, nice 6 o'clock. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. It's all about the R's. That's it. Paul Richards, you just hit him with our news brief. We'll hear him again during our program. We'll get Richard Raghubarsing in the mix. We got Ruben that is just on standby while he washes his car. My name is Steve Khan. We'll keep you company until 9 o'clock this morning. Let's see what's happening on the roads of TNT, shall we? Let's not take a look at what's happening on the roads of TNT. In the east-west corridor, the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway, yeah, you got volume from Santa Rosa going through to Elmira heavier after Maloney to Piarco, then Trinity City to Huey. After Huey, you're pretty much going to step on the gas a little bit and slow up by the interchange, but your traffic will start again from after Barataria. Eastern Main Road, not bad at this time, just going through by Rima Old Road and by Macoya. Yeah, geez. And taking a look at San Fernando, what's happening down that side, I got nothing really to tell you about. On the Solo, as you head northbound, just after Freeport, you're going to see a bunch of red lights. That's right. You'll see a bunch of red lights going up towards Chaguanas. And then after Chaguanas, it's step on the gas again, but you'll short-lived. Traffic again towards the interchange. Monroe Road already busy this morning. All right, let's get into the W. See what's happening weather-wise. It is a wonderful, cool, 24 degrees in our Twin Island Republic, Piarco and Crown Point. And what's the Met Office saying for today? Prominently hot and sunny conditions are expected despite a few light to moderate afternoon showers. There's a low to medium chance of the isolated afternoon heavy shower or thunderstorm favoring western and hilly areas of Trinidad. This evening will be fair. All right, that's your weather for today. Forecast temp for Piarco with 34 and 33 in Crown Point. And quickly, let's check some temps where you live. 21 in Toronto. You'll get some rain between 8 and 9. Miami, 25 and cloudy. Orlando, clear and 23. New York, clear and 25. Atlanta, partly cloudy and 22. London, would you believe you're a sunny and 25 degrees? Wow. Tampa, you're at 24 and clear. Washington, clear and 25. And our good friend out in LA, which we haven't heard from in a very long time, mostly clear and 17 in Los Angeles. All right. So let me bring the entity that we call Paul Richards.
Entity. I like that. The entity.
That last story you had in that newscast, I tell you.
Good. The second to last story.
It was the second to last story. I tell you, I cracked up. Yeah. I tell you, what they will do with science again, I don't know.
Making human beings now.
Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't be surprised. We have Richard Raghubarsing, so.
That's true. And we are Ruben.
Very surprised. So why do they want to do that though? Ask me, just to show that they can do it.
What is the point in doing that?
Why do you want to do it? Just to make some kind of jumbie?
Now we're going to bring up the term, who's your daddy?
No, we're going to bring up the term, are you a human or not? Because if they could make a human being, they could design a human being with special qualities.
Yes, true.
Because they could start to manipulate the genome, and if they could make a whole one, they could make a half of one, or one with extra this and extra that.
Oh, jeez. Oh, Lord. I don't even want to go there.
Or this bigger and that bigger. Or this stronger.
It is, yeah, exactly. I don't even want to go there.
So what, in 20 years, you don't know who working on next year? If it's some kind of clone that is designed to do something, let them go ahead.
Say the same name every time I said that next to you in a meeting.
Well, yeah. You would say that to superior intellects.
Oh, Lord.
You would say that.
Let's say good morning, going to Oliver Manwaring. Oliver Manwaring, good morning. Pauline Buckmeyer, good morning to you as well. Doreen Pierre, Miss Ingrid in Tucson, Arizona. Marcia Rock, darling, how are you this morning? Ray, sweetheart, how you going? Rena Boodoo Jennings, Ambrose Blanc, good morning out in New York. Good morning to you. Trinity in Boston. Ms. Maloney Dudu, Ewart Ratchford, good morning. Carol Guevara, what guan, Carol, what guan? Morgan, morning to you. Happy pre-Friday. That's what it is. It is pre-Friday. It is
September
Tuesday.
is moving very quickly.
Yeah, boy. I have a very busy September.
September is moving very, very quickly. Anyway, good morning, Shanti Bigo.
Yeah.
When
I will
Stephen,
tell you, Paul. I will
when
tell you.
when you bring in information, make sure it's accurate, please. Make sure you confirm the information before you bring it in. You base a whole argument in it and question. But the man get beat up when he's prisoner and dead.
That was me. I brought that up.
Well, whoever. But I apologize, Wendell, you.
He was, yeah, me. Both me. Both me.
I can't tell you about that. You just see something online and you bring it as news. You constantly doing that.
Well,
not because it's online, it's true.
Actually, it came from a credible source.
Yeah. Do you still think the source is credible?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do, actually.
You all jump down. You are the king of circulating stuff on social media.
The amount of times I got that yesterday.
So that makes it correct.
Yeah. Even up to last night, I was getting it. You know? So
maybe the algorithm has realized that Steve Khan will distribute no matter what. So they say that's a good point to distribute.
Of course. I will tell you, this place, I don't know what to say about this place, Yesterday morning, a lady is walking in front of the pet butler. She works around the corner. She's a Spanish, I think she's from Venezuela. I've seen her before because she works in Happiness Grocery by the farm road there. And a fella accosted her and robbed her, and he had a knife in his hand. And she's screaming and screaming and screaming. And he took her purse, her backpack, everything. And she had all her papers in it. Unbelievable.
Very unfortunate. Sad.
Unbelievable. I don't know. I know they call the police. I don't know how long the police took, but when you're walking or you can't walk in anything, these dregs of society.
Well, and I understand migrants having to work with their papers because if police stop them, they're going to ask them, where your papers?
Yeah, I can understand that, but oh gosh, man. The lady was bored and she cried and she ran back to the place of work. And it was like...
That's really traumatic. Yeah. Denise Plumber got a great send-off yesterday.
I saw some footage of it yesterday.
Some pieces, really beautiful, well organized, well planned send-off as it should have been. So her sons spoke about her generosity of heart and spirit. Mm-hmm. And I remember many years ago, she and I worked for 2 years actually remember they used to have this safari at Center of Excellence, all day for children during the summer.
Yeah.
And she and I was the host for the day, and she would be there all day because she was on different times. So we really got to chat a lot during those 2 weeks. And I mean, beautiful person, down to earth,
amazing,
grounded, always caring about somebody. Always, if she saw somebody walking, she always going to help them. I said, "Denise, sit down and relax yourself now." If she saw someone in need of food, she'd give them the food. That's just who she was, and I think. And
she was also an animal advocate.
Yeah, she was 69 years old, and certainly has made her mark.
And I think the one that moved me a bit when I was watching it this morning in news, I watched this news this morning, was that she got to hold her first grandson, which was born like 10 days before.
Oh, that's great.
That
must have made her really happy.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, great send-off. What else is happening in the news? Well, I see the Ministry of Social Development said a new legislation or amendment to existing legislation is coming to be able to take people off the streets, homeless people. But as it stands, the Socially Displaced Persons Act 2000 is incapable of authorizing the state or persons acting on behalf of the state to just take people off the street. I keep telling you all that. You can't just go.
Yeah, you did.
Grab somebody off the street like that. You have to ask them, do you want to go to a home? And then they have they don't have to stay there. And some persons have mental health issues, drug abuse issues, poverty issues, family conflict issues. So, I mean, the plethora of issues why people end up on the street. And the home is being built. They turned the sod yesterday. $50 million it'll cost. That's the one they're building off South Key.
Yeah. May I ask Dr. Robbie about that?
The mosquito spa.
Yeah, that's what I swear. That's what I call it.
And I hope they finish it on time and they pass legislation in time to be able to initiate rehabilitation of most, if not all, of these people. But then, okay, that takes care of Port of Spain. What about Central and San Fernando?
Exactly. What about, because it's across the country, yeah?
So
there's a lot of homelessness in the QREP area.
Maybe if people are picked up in San Fernando and the law allows them to, they can bring them to Port of Spain for rehabilitation also.
But you know what they have to work on as well, because if, let's say, the van is coming down High Street in San Fernando, oh shoot, look, the van, poof, them disappear, you know.
Well, I don't know that you have to go with any specific van.
Well, I'm just saying a van, vehicle.
It's not a dog catcher.
You know, no, I just think they have to sit down when they come in there.
And if the van is not marked, how will they know?
Trust me, they will know. They will know. And I really hope that they have the capacity to realize who is really just socially displaced, who has the mental issues, the rehab for those that taking drugs, are addicted to drugs. I hope it goes, everything and all these different agencies, everything moves smoothly. You know, it's not only building a place, but
I don't think the state will invest in a building without manning it with the requisite resources, including assessment protocols for persons, because the ability to take someone off the street must come with certain conditionalities.
Yes, exactly.
So there must be some sort of, if you can initially detain someone, I use the word detain legally, and assess to see if they are a danger to themselves and others, including if they have a drug addiction issue or a mental health issue. I'm sure there are protocols to do that. And then based on that assessment, after the detention for a limited time, the state can intervene to rehabilitate that person while detaining them further. So I guess, as I understand legally, you probably have to go through a number of steps. And then a particular amount of time within which the state can detain that person legally, because I don't think it should be indefinite. And the assessment will have to identify if that person can be allowed back onto the streets. But the question will arise, if it is an issue of poverty, what's the remedy? You can't take me off the street because I'm poor, legally.
Mm-hmm.
I know. In many cases, they have no control over that. Circumstances hit me, and poverty, and I have nowhere to live. Is it that I'm going to take off the street because I'm poor? I could understand mental health issues, drug addiction issues, because that's a humanitarian issue. But poverty, if anybody can say they're poor. You understand?
Yeah.
Unable to take care of themselves. So, well, poor to the point where you're indigent or homeless. And then in that case, is it that you're going to provide housing? And then other people who will say, well, I can't afford housing, and they give me housing. So that the poverty part is going to be very ticklish. But the mental health issues and the drug addiction issues, to me, are a little more straightforward in terms of the potential for intervention. So, I mean, it's a start. So I commend the ministry, because, I mean, this is something people have spoken about for decades in this country. So I think they're taking the right approach. It's not just about passing the law to take people off the street. You have to have some place to take the people for the
Mhm.
rehabilitation. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Anytime will.
Um, big storm.
Yeah, that's a huge hurricane, boy.
Yeah.
It's way north of the Leeward Islands. So that's
This is some footage from Fox News. It is category 1 now. It is
Mhm.
veering upwards, so it presently poses no threat to Trinidad or Tobago. But if you see the size of the feeder bands and this
Yeah.
projection here that you're seeing, we're going to have some rain into the weekend because those
Mhm.
feeder bands are going to extend to Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Barbados moving up, which are more in the projected path of the hurricane.
Yeah, and the waters up there are very warm.
Yeah.
They said it could go up to a Cat 5 and come back down to a 4. But wow, it's huge.
Yeah,
Look
but Cat 4 is really bad also. So,
yeah, look at that.
so it was it Ian?
Huge.
That's his name? Or Lee, sorry.
Lee.
So they're expecting by the time it hits close to Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and going up to Cuba, it will be a category 5, potentially with winds in excess of 150 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk, it's 100 miles per hour. Think about when you're driving in your car.
Yeah.
At 80 miles per hour. That is report roof funding.
Mm-hmm.
That is livestock flying in the air sometimes. So,
you try standing up in that now, you get tire string.
exactly.
Fly.
To me, just strong wind could knock you over. So, hopefully, people get prepared. They have quite a bit of warning ahead of time, and they're expected to meet that strength level by Saturday. So, I guess moving into Friday, we'll start to see intensification, particularly as it passes north of Grenada and Barbados, if it remains on its present course, and moving up the eastern Lesser Antilles and up the Greater Antilles. I never remember which one is which one, but Lesser is low, I guess. I could stand corrected. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, last night was
everybody was cricket except me.
Boy,
everybody was cricket except me.
Talk about sixes.
Was it packed?
Pretty much was like 80 to 90% packed. TKR made 208 for 6. And Barbados made 166 for 7. I mean, I didn't watch the Barbados side of it. I just watched the 5 overs. I went to bed. But boy, and then there was that mix up with Puran and Pollard. But that was some serious sixes, man. It was a good game. It was a good game. Of course, they take a couple of days break today and tomorrow. And then the trifecta is on this Saturday and Sunday happening at Taruba, San Fernando, the Brian Lara Cricket Academy.
What kind of entertainment do they have?
Sorry?
What kind of entertainment do they have at these matches?
I have no idea. Well, they have the
So
DJs, they have the drumming, the tassa, the dancing girls from various companies. So, I was just too tired. I got invited to go, but I was just way too tired. And I knew that game was going to finish late, and then time I get home and have a shower and wind down for bed and close my eyes, will be like a blink and the alarm goes off. So
and pack the belly away.
I will tell you, Paul, that folks, that of the 2nd of October, Monday, 2nd October, the pet butler will be relocated.
Will be relocated.
Mm-hmm. We're going to move from Curep, and we are going to go to El Socorro Main Road. El Socorro Main Road, like El Socorro Road, and Mirage Street. So that is, if you're coming from the
The back
Quasi,
butler is moving and coming to El Socorro. You get the ad?
Socorro, yeah, I'll get the ad. I'll get the ad. And of course, that is we're
El Socorro, get ready.
yeah, where the Unipet gas station is 1 block south of there, on the western side. So if you're driving down, it's on the right hand side. Nice building, a new building.
In the middle of things, boy.
Yeah.
It's always busy, right? Always busy.
Well, I was there on Sunday.
That's a very good. It's a much more public location than where you are now.
Yeah, and it's got parking, which is important, and it certainly is secure.
I have not ever remember. I don't remember ever seeing a pet supply store. Well, I guess the grocery may sell dog food, but they're talking about a variety of pet supplies in that area. So you kind of, which was a wise area. Smart area.
Yeah, I did drive around. I did drive around, and I did ask a few people. I mean, from the pet supplies, the wholesalers, I did ask them, and they said, yeah, that's it's not too far. It's just to get the lotto booth moved, which I blew a gasket for yesterday. Because I can't believe it, only in Trinidad things could move that slowly. I don't know how a business that runs every day and collects money every day, a committee meets 6 times a year.
What are you talking about?
For me, I remember the lotto booth needs to move to relocate. I just can't pick it up and put it there. I have to inform NLCB, and then they will now have to send somebody to make sure the location is good. There's no lotto booths close by, and then they'll say, okay, go ahead, and then you have their requirements that you have to build this and have that and so on. But it needs to be, so I send my letter in, and it needs to be approved by the committee. And I was totally flabbergasted that they only meet 6 times a year.
Why should they meet more than 6 times a year?
It's a daily run organization. Collects money from all across.
What is the mandate of the committee?
To meet 6 times a year. Every 2 months, the committee meets to go through applications.
Right, and I think that's quite regular, quite frankly.
I think it should be once a month.
Well, because you want to get your thing moved. That is why.
Yeah, because now I have 2 people that won't have a job.
Well, Steve, I think meeting every 2 months is very reasonable.
I don't.
To assess applications for lotto booths, and it's not like they're going to add a million lotto booths to the network in any particular time, or lotto booths are moving that regularly. I
just hope that when I'm ready to move, they cut it off, and they'll have to come and take the machine. And
I'm sure there are mechanisms in place for that.
Well, I don't know if they're going to meet in November.
I don't think the committee has to meet to shut down a lotto booth operation. I think the committee has to meet to assess whether
they'll assign somebody to assess.
Meets the requirements.
Yeah, and exactly. And part of the requirements is making sure you can't have a lotto booth and then your neighbor have a lotto booth. There must be some.
I think every 8 weeks is reasonable to assess that. I'm quite impressed actually, because the way state agencies operate in this country, I think every 2 months is quite reasonable in terms of assessing the application for new booths and also for booths that want to be relocated.
Yeah, they did ask me why I want to. I said, well, it's a couple of factors which I explained. I just, I'm just, if I used to run it and operate it myself, I mean, behind the machine, I have no problem. But when I have 2 people that operate that machine, that I have to eventually tell them, well, listen, I don't know when I'm going to get relocated. It's out of my hands. I need to have a job for now.
Well, I understand your compassion for the 2 employees.
Yeah.
And so I also understand the other side of it, the regulation side of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
6:32.
I just think they need to, move a little quickly. Um, yeah. So congratulations to TKR winning that game last night, and that mix up between Pollard and Puran.
So let's roll into the front pages of today's 3 dailies. I'm gonna just check to see if Raghubar singing before he
Yeah. Check
before he
it.
throws
While you
his
do
usual.
that, let me say, let's see. Ambrose Block, good morning. He was talking about that same entity that you spoke about. It. You read in for a newscast. Good morning, Guy Small. Yeah. I know, Guy, that you came to the store. Yeah. It'll be a little more secure. I mean, I tell you, yesterday somebody walking just went past front of the store and got robbed. What is going on with Watson Duke?
What do you mean?
I'm now seeing him on television here. Well, I'm
With
now
blonde hair?
seeing him on television. Is it blonde or is it just gray or
No, it's
what is
blonde.
that?
It's a good thing we wait, like Mr. Manrich.
What is that?
It's like going to that newspapers without him being there. He had to wait
Hey,
2 minutes.
Rich.
Anxiety attacks.
What's
Do you have any
happening? Ragu?
No, I don't.
No,
I'm good.
He overslept.
Let's roll into the headlines and the 3 major dailies for today, Thursday, the 7th of September, 2023. We start with the Daily Express. Lynch, I'll carry on my job. That's Commission of Inquiry Chairman Jerome Lynch King's counsel. After being accused of bias and being called upon to recuse himself from the inquiry. Okay. The Puran Show. Thank you, Pollard. Minister turns sod for $55 million sent to house street dwellers. Cheese, sausages, and baked seeds from Spanish nationals in Maxi. The Puran Show, I guess that's talking about cricket. UNC countries water crisis set to worsen. Central Bank registers 3 e-money users. So those are the Express trending stories. Let's move to the Guardian now. Cultural send-off for Denise Plumber. Picture of Destra Garcia and Michel Xavier in the audience. War of words erupt between Hines and senior attorney. Attorney Avery Cinnamon countering Minister Hines' assertion about bail and saying bail is a constitutional right. And that the government is the one frustrating and demoralizing police. Cultural send-off for Denise Plumber. Businessman clamp down of drones. Customs scaring away customers. Food shortage hits Tobago. Businessmen say crisis looms. Relatives of missing Blanche Share's man ask public don't share picture of woman. Pundit seeks injunction to stop Mahasaba election. Maloney residents remain traumatized by murders. HDC seeks police support for contractors. And those are the Guardian big stories. Let's move to the Newsday now. Government planning law to remove street dwellers. Pariah victims' relatives unmoved by Commission of Inquiry's apology. Hines' mom on COP's performance. Trinidad Tobago wins 6 travel awards in St. Lucia. Police told hold PM to independence support promise. Seeking the truth about Pariah diving tragedy. U.S. Ambassador thanks fire service for saving her house. AG, who holds the bloggers to account? And body found in Siparia identified by clothing. So those are front page and trending stories in your 3 major dailies for today, September 7th, 2023. Is this a Raghubar Singh stock? I'm not hearing you, but you're moving.
You hear me?
We're not hearing you. You're hearing me, Steve? Huh? You're trying a good one there. But you reacted already. You reacted already, so it didn't work. You did it for what?
I know I moved a little bit. I should have just froze like Richard. You know, Richard is watching camera and he is wondering if he's frozen. He just looking.
No, you're not hearing me.
Rich, right? You're still muted there, Rich. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, I am muted. I'm going to come in. I'm going to swing
Your
in.
volume is
You-
extremely
you-
low. You're
You're sounding
whispering.
softer. We're hearing you, but you're sounding a little.
Check
The
your
volume is
connection
sounding
to
low.
your jack for your microphone.
Are you all hearing me now?
There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay.
Good morning to Karen Yipnow. Morning to you. Gloria Gray. Wayne B. Good morning. Right. Yeah. So good morning to you guys.
No, I was asking.
Sorry?
What? No, I was asking Paul. One of the news items you read, was it the U.S. ambassador thanks the fire service?
Yeah, I saw a story. I didn't read the story, but I saw something about the U.S. ambassador thanking the fire services. Is it yesterday? Before there seemed to be been a fire, maybe a small fire. Let me do speculate. Let's read the
Where?
story and get deep into it.
On Marley Street?
No,
I
she
don't
said her-
know.
No, she said her house. According
Yeah,
to
I
what
think
we
it's
read.
I think it's the residence.
Really? That's a beautiful residence.
So, right.
Actually beautiful. All right. It is, I didn't check. How did I not do that? Let me just make sure the phone lines are working. Phone lines still down, boy. Wonderful flow.
So
Wonderful
the
flow.
question we're suggesting this morning. Thank God we have YouTube and Facebook. If people can respond to the question, is the message board up, Steve?
No.
Okay, so the
We're
internal.
having a problem. So I had a discussion with Ruben on that yesterday. So we may do something else, which I know our listeners will love. But
So
Dayton has been trying with Flow to get our lines back up. We could make calls at the office. We just cannot receive the calls.
And what's the magic word there?
What's the magic word? I don't know.
Flow. Ask Wendell about that.
I even jumped in and called the corporate office yesterday to try and get it. And
Good luck. So our question this morning, I don't know if Raghubasim would agree, comes from the statement from Minister Donna Cox, Minister of Social Development and Family Services, that amendment to the Socially Displaced Homeless Law 2000 is coming to Parliament before 2024 to authorize the state to take persons who may have mental health issues, drug addiction issues, and other issues off the street to be able to put them in the establishment being built for rehabilitation. And so the suggested question this morning, because the state presently doesn't have the legal authority to take anybody off the street if they don't want to get off the street, even if they're homeless. The suggested question this morning is, do you agree with the state changing the law to be able to take homeless people off the street? I guess, can I add for rehabilitation? Or should I just leave it like that?
Leave it like that?
Okay.
No, that's
So the
ultimately,
morning-
well, I know it's for rehabilitation. Well, presumptively, I want to assume so. But the basis of it is they're changing the law to take homeless people off the street.
Yeah.
And you agree with that?
Yes. So do you agree with changing the laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets? Yes or no? Right now, you can respond to the poll through YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. We're streaming on all three platforms. And I guess you can message Steve Khan on his phone. I know he has all your numbers on his phone. So our question this morning is, do you agree with changing the laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes or no? That's been an issue for many, many years because the state currently does not have the legislative authority to take people off the streets. Andrew, isn't it interesting that Jerome Lynch is being accused of bias?
Because he asked for the extension?
Yeah, well, I guess. From what I see in the televised versions of those inquiries months ago, Jerome Lynch was nothing but exceptional. So he reiterated there's no government interference. But you see, while I don't agree with it, I understand why questions will arise in this environment when something as contentious as this, when more than one extension is requested.
Yeah.
And
you really have to try and keep to the timelines
of course. They will say one extension, okay. But now another one, where's the real story? You know? So that's our question this morning. Not that, the one we said before. Do you agree with changing laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets? Yes or no?
That's our poll question this morning. So 222 2282. No, we can take calls. We can't take calls.
No, only international calls. So the toll-free number is up and working. Thanks to Flo. 866-525-1099. All right. Karen says yes. Slick Money Grip says yes. Marcia Rock says yes. Miss Ingrid, yes to the poll. All right. So only the toll-free lines. So North Americans, you can call 866-525-1099. All right, as Paul puts up on your screen, tropical storm. Well, it's Hurricane Lee. I think it's a story more. Let me just double check that.
So those of you outside or who have Magic Jacks, you can call us at 866-525-1099. The other listeners, you can go through YouTube. And I think I saw somebody at the hospital yesterday again. And she said, how do I get
How your mom going? As I say that.
She's very good. She's quite stable now.
Lovely.
So, bring up YouTube on your phone and patch it through the car system.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
That's all.
That's it.
Just bring up YouTube on your phone and patch it through your car system or your headphones, and you'll get us.
Just look for Power 102 Digital on YouTube. You'll get us. Good morning, caller.
Power 102 Digital on your
Grandy, yes.
All right, Grandy, thank you. Because Grandy is using his Magic Jack. All right, let's see. Anthony Lazama says yes. Winston Jones, yes. Trillian Boston, yes. Yeah, all right. So toll free, you can call us 866-525-1099 on YouTube. And Paul will give us if there's any on Facebook as well.
And just to let you all know, a heads up, we're planning some giveaways just now.
Yep, we're giving away, Paul.
Including tickets to R&R production.
Yeah.
Shows.
Lunch with the Paul Breakfast crew.
We have 2 shows coming up, actually.
Yeah, so we have some giveaways coming up in October, November, and December, including tickets to R&R production shows and other shows. So look out for that. Just to reward you for your loyalty.
You know,
and support. You might even give away some Pet Butler vouchers. Or Rumbox vouchers. Rumbox vouchers. You know?
So our poll this morning, do you agree with changing laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
That's our poll. Pamela Phillip, good morning. She says, let me tell you what Pamela says. Pamela says, I've been listening to your show religiously for over 15 years, communicating with you and Wendell a few years now. But I never saw you all in person. But I ran into Paul when he was leaving the hospital yesterday morning. Didn't recognize him, recognized his voice as he passed me talking on the phone. That boy always on the phone, Pamela. Paul could live on a phone. I did say hello to him
I have a
and asked
computer
him
running.
about his mom. Hope she's doing better today. Good morning, Paul.
I have to tell people what to do and make sure they're doing it.
Lorna, morning, Indy, and a special good morning to Kali. Lorna says, yes, absolutely. Ish out in Malik also says yes.
It's going to be a really intense hurricane season. You can see it already. Well, it's almost finished, but I mean, the end seems to be intensifying.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me, but wouldn't they require some level of assistance from the opposition? Wouldn't this be in breach of certain constitutional provisions?
Well, I think it'll be a swiftest majority because it will take away part of your right to free movement.
Freedom of movement, yeah.
Yeah. So you're detaining persons out of them actually breaking the law. So the police will have to be given, or whoever you authorize to do this will have to be given powers outside of that under particular conditions.
Yeah. I'm wondering, is the opposition going to support this?
I would not be able to answer that for you.
So do you agree with changing the law to be able to take homeless people off the street? That's our poll this morning. What says you? Of course, you can
Lester
send your
Cragwell says yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
You have Cynthia Ramsarup.
No, I didn't do Cynthia yet. Morning, Cynthia.
Cynthia says yes. Do you have Ish and Malik? Ish and Malik says yes.
Ish and Malik,
All right.
correct.
So Lester and Cynthia both said yes.
Yeah, Krisha out in on Facebook says yes.
Richard, I see we're catching up to you all.
with what?
On Earth, the BBC is reporting scientists have grown an entity that closely resembles an early human embryo without using sperm, eggs, or a uterus. The Weizmann Institute team says the embryo model made using stem cells looks like a textbook example of a real 14-day-old embryo. The embryo-ish even released hormones that turned a pregnancy test positive in the lab.
Yep.
That
was news. That was news yesterday. That was breaking news yesterday, actually.
So they may have another Richard in a lab somewhere now. Carol Guevara said yes. Is it your stem cells they used?
You're not supposed to release that kind of information concerning scientific experiments. It's not responsible.
Next thing you know, they decide to make an entity with 5 legs and 10 arms, 2 mouths, 20 eyes. Kenny out in Harlem says, I yes to the poll. Carol Guevara says yes. Jillian Denner said, CJ out in New York says yes. Have a fantastic day. Cynthia Daniel says yes. Sexy San Fernando is in the house. Good morning to you, Sexy San Fernando. She says absolutely yes. There's a man naked as he's born all over San Fernando, sleeps and bathes next to the government office on Independence Avenue. Yesterday, he was oiling down himself with a bottle of vehicle oil. Man, you won't get bit with mosquitoes for sure.
Designer humans coming just now. Watch out yourself. What color eyes do you want your child to have? Do you want full lips, straight nose, broad nose? Do you want 10 fingers, 9 fingers, 11 fingers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a boy, a girl, or both?
Mm-hmm. What's the name of that movie again?
Do you want athletic qualities, intellect, or all the above.
Do you want to be
Please,
faster than Bolt?
please tick the appropriate box and submit now.
I wouldn't doubt that will happen, you know.
Oh yes, oh yes.
I would not doubt that whatsoever.
Do you want the child to look like Richard, to look like Steve, or to look
Oh,
like
yes, yes, yes. Richard, no, no, no.
We can design whatever child you want.
Yeah. You could have a
Dial now
designer child.
for a consultation. 800 Design Your Child Today. A message from Embryo Stell Incorporated. It's coming.
Get your designer child today.
Do you want the child to have Wendell Stevens' virility, Steve Cahn's belly, Richard Raghubasin's writing ability?
Steve, can your belly jump up in that?
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's
Belly
fine.
making. Your belly making is a desirable trait, Steve.
That's
Desirable traits.
fine. You want me to get up and put up my shirt and see my belly? I could get up right now and put up my shirt, and you all want to see that?
And you may qualify to be taken off the street after that. Okay, maybe one of the conditionalities for some sort of mental disorder or public nuisance. You know the public nuisance law, Richard, that they can arbitrarily apply?
Mm-hmm.
You know, wherever the officer feel you is a public nuisance, they can apply. They can. You could just be dancing in the road and they find you a public nuisance and arrest you. Or annoying language is the other one.
Oh, I don't know why that on the book still.
Annoying language. What? Okay, what is annoying language? Officer, you're stupid. I find you stupid.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the changing law? Do you agree with changing laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets? All those that come into town pass through City Gate, by RBC, on Independence Square, on Abercrombie Street. When I come to work every morning,
I think all towns
Kirep Junction
have some measure of homelessness in them.
Yeah.
All.
Yeah. You know, do you agree with the changing laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets? Of course, some are mentally challenged, some are legitimately homeless, kicked out of their homes, dropped off in a certain place, and people drop them off, left. Addicts. So do you agree with changing laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets? These laws should have been changed so long ago.
The Minister of Social Development, or the Minister of Social Development, said yesterday at the start-telling ceremony that at present, the Socially Displaced Persons Act 2000 is being reviewed to provide the state with the authority to take people off the street. Under particular conditions, she said that law should come to the Parliament in 2024, which is like 4 months away.
Well,
I thought it was before 2024.
Well, like in 2024.
Or in 2024, so that's next year then. So where did we stop from taking the votes and when you were reading?
We got all the votes.
Oh, okay. Up to Lester Craigswell?
Yeah. All right, let me check YouTube here.
Lester Craigswell was saying, has anyone observed the guy who bathes naked in front of QRC every day? Where the president has to pass and the police, and they just ignore his presence?
What they should do is move the standpipe.
I know exactly where that standpipe is.
Imagine
that is opposite a school.
If they see that
for a minute.
That will solve that problem instantly.
Yeah.
So that's your question this morning. Do you agree with changing the laws to be able to take homeless people off the streets? Yes or no? As we said earlier on in our discussion, it will have to be under specific conditions. It will have to be for a particular time. I don't agree with being able to detain people indefinitely. There needs to be some qualified person making an assessment. Even if you detain someone, let's say for 28 or 48 hours, within which time the state must do an assessment. You understand? So you can't detain somebody and 2 weeks down the road, the state doesn't do an assessment, because all those things can happen, Richard. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
It means the state needs to do an assessment within that time that the person is detained, whether it be for a mental health issue or a drug addiction issue or a tendency for violence issue, which may come from a mental health issue. I don't know how they're going to deal with the poverty issue, because some people are on the street based on poverty, and I don't know how you're going to craft that in a law. You understand? You're poor and you have no house, so detaining you. How are you going to do that? The rehabilitation for that is money, job, you know? So that one is going to be the challenging one to me, because other people on the street, because they're just poor, you know? Family conflict situation where you can't get along with your family put you out.
Yeah.
How are you fixing that? So, but I see avenues for mental health and drug addiction.
I see we have some other votes coming in. Ambrose Blanc says yes. Guy Small says no. To the poll, you cannot detain people against their will.
You can under certain circumstances.
So
the police can presently detain you under certain circumstances.
Beauty Culture says good morning. Yes to the poll. That problem has been such a feature of life in Trinidad and Tobago for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of it is the state's humanitarian responsibility to try to rehabilitate persons who are in these situations in some instances.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. You did, guys, want to beauty culture, right? Let's get into our 7 o'clock major news. Of course, Avison Hill Lynch is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
The prison service describes as militia several reports circulating via social media that a prisoner was beaten to death at Golden Grove Prison. Questions on monies given to the Commission of Inquiry into Paria diving tragedy to be answered in November at the presentation of the report. Police investigate the murder of 2 men in Chaguanas last night, and an ex-soldier terror suspect is on the run and in the UK. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Cynthia Bob. Good morning. Malicious and inaccurate is how the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service refers to several reports circulating via social media platforms that indicates a prisoner was beaten to death at the Golden Grove Prison. On its Facebook page, the service said the prisoner, Karen Jerome, who was housed at the Eastern Correctional Rehabilitation Center, was ailing for some time and was admitted to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex, where he subsequently died on September 5th, 2023. Acting Commissioner of Prisons Dio Pasad Ramoja condemned the social media reports and stated these types of unconfirmed reports are extremely disconcerting, unethical, and unprofessional, and are viewed as deliberate attempts to tarnish the operations of the prison service. He lamented the lack of consideration for families and friends of the deceased and added the prison service remains transparent in its operations and continues to adhere to its mandate of restoration and rehabilitation of those under its care. The nation will be updated on money allocated to the Commission of Inquiry into the Paria diving tragedy at the presentation of the report into the development in November. This is the assurance from Commission Chairman Jerome Lynch, King's Counsel, after being questioned by a reporter at a news briefing held on Wednesday. The reporter wanted to know the exact amount of money which was placed into the commission in light of the approval given for a further extension of the proceedings. Mr. Lynn said matters relating to these issues will be addressed at the handing of the report to the President at the end of November.
As for any further monies that are being made available to the Commission of Inquiry, Mr. Ramesh Maharaj has made a public statement saying that we will deal with all of the funding of the Commission of Inquiry, both in the report and make ourselves publicly available to deal with any questions arising from that at the conclusion. So it's probably not useful for me to contribute now. Clearly, there was a cost involved. We will deal with it, or the handing of the report, to the President.
He confirmed the Commission of Inquiry has received letters representing Paria and Heritage on Tuesday with regards to apparent bias in the case, and he has no further details, he says, on the specifics of the company's concerns.
In relation to the letter we received yesterday from lawyers representing Paria and Heritage, they made it clear in that letter that they regard our approach to the case as being one of apparent bias, and that they propose to do something about it. Well, I don't know what it is they're going to do about it, but no doubt they will lodge whatever complaint they want to or seek legal redress wherever they think it is appropriate. For the time being, we have no further detail as to what it is that they say we have done, which they are not very happy with. But that's a matter for them. I will carry on doing our job in the way in which we regard as being fair to everybody.
Meanwhile, Mr. Lynch has made it clear that there was no political interference which influenced its decision to ask for an extension in the Paria diving tragedy, submitting its final report to the President. On 2 occasions, the Commission sought an extension from the head of state. Mr. Lynch said the Commission wanted to ensure that all its bases were properly covered before presenting its final report.
There's been some media speculation that the cause of the delay has been as a result of either political or company, Paria in particular, interference in some way. I can state categorically that that is not the case. If there were even a whiff of such an approach, I would make that very public indeed. Similarly, we've placed no blame at anyone else's door for this delay. The delay, such as it is mine. I have decided that we will take a little more time and add additional safeguards so as to ensure fairness to all and limit the potential for any further litigation aimed at thwarting the legitimate aims of this inquiry.
He said all responses have now been collected and the Commission is in a better position to move forward with its deliberations. Mr. Lynch was questioned on what assurance he could give to the national community that there would be no further application for another extension. He said all was being done to ensure a final report is available by the end of November.
If you'd asked me that question when I was making the application for an extension to the end of August, I would have said to you that I believed that that was genuinely achievable. I did not anticipate that I would have to be making a second request. It grieves me that I felt it necessary to do so. I'm sure that the families and those who are particularly interested in the outcome of this inquiry are frustrated by that delay. Whilst I fully anticipate that there will be no further application, I cannot put my hand on my heart and say it's impossible, although I want to reassure you and the public at large that I am genuinely trying to do everything I possibly can to make sure that there is a report available for the President by the end of November.
Stakeholders and businesses in Tobago are becoming more anxious as the availability of goods on the island is said to be rapidly declining. This is due to the inability of fast ferries to transport large vehicles between Trinidad and Tobago. The island is currently facing shortages in the construction sector, with hardware stores running out of essential supplies like cement, blocks, and sand, Warehouses are also said to be experiencing a scarcity of food items such as beer, soft drinks, flour, and animal feed. Scores of workers have also been temporarily retrenched or sent on early vacations. According to media reports, the issues stemmed from a fire on board the Cabo Star 2 weeks ago, which damaged electrical cables. In a release last week, the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago stated that it would take 7 days to ship the cables for repairs. Cargo has since been accommodated on board the Galleon's Passage and APT James. Police are investigating the shooting of 2 men who were killed in Enterprise, Chaguanas last night, bringing the murder toll up to 400. The men were only identified as Barry and Jones up to news time. According to police reports, the incident occurred at Chrissy Trace around 8:45 p.m. Police say that both men were sitting and chatting with each other when a gunman walked up to both of them and opened fire. However, police said they got information that Barry was not the intended target. Investigations are continuing. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Further afield, a manhunt continues for terror suspect Daniel Abdad Khalif, who escaped from Wandsworth Prison in London on Wednesday morning. 21-year-old Khalif was awaiting trial after being accused of leaving fake bombs at a military base while serving in the army. It is believed he escaped from a prison kitchen by strapping himself to the underside of a food delivery van. Khalif is understood to have links to Kingston in southwest London and northwest England. All police forces and UK border points have been asked to look out for Khalif. Well, finally, here is weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, predominantly hot and sunny conditions are expected, despite a few light to moderate afternoon showers. There's a low to medium chance of the isolated afternoon heavy shower or thunderstorm favoring western and hilly areas of Trinidad. Nighttime mostly fair and warm. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding may occur near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Look out for a warm temperature high this morning of 34 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 33 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 27 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, the prison service describes as malicious 7 reports circulating via social media of a prisoner beaten to death at the Golden Grove prison. Questions on monies given to the Commission of Inquiry into the Paria diving tragedy will be answered in November at the presentation of the report, according to Jerome Lynch. Police investigate the murder of 2 men in Chaguanas last night, and a manhunt continues for terror suspect Daniel Abdad Khalif, who escaped from Wandsworth Prison in London on Wednesday morning. I'm Avril Cynthia Bob. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right, thank you, Avril. Lynch, you should have heard her and seen her face when I played those sound bites of Mr. Lynch. I should have really turned the camera around and, oh my Lord, I need a raise. Anyway, thank you, Ava. You can join her again come at 8 o'clock where we have our news brief. All right. Quickly, let's take a look what's happening on the highways and byways. I'm sure it's going to be very short. It is. Where you think you're going to get traffic, you will get traffic. East-West corridor, the highway, you got traffic from Maloney to Port of Spain, Maraval, Lower Santa Cruz, coming down to San Juan. You've got traffic from Santa Cruz. Diego Martin. Yeah, you've got traffic. I'm seeing an accident in Diego Martin. It's a minor accident. So it's on the highway southbound. And it's after, just to get onto the highway to head south. All right. Take a look at this. Maraval, horrible. Let's take a look at those from south and central. San Fernando, yep, usual routes. Lighter than usual, but usual routes. You've got traffic. So as you head northbound, you're going to pick up traffic this morning from...
And I'm going to get drunk as hell.
All right. All righty, Paul. I know you have some issues there this morning.
Do you see his electricity going? So
Nope. Here that UPS go. How long is that gonna last?
you'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out. When he goes, "Dudunk," we won't get
Then
it.
when I just disappear, notice I'm looking like a zombie now. No lights.
I'm so different than the other day.
Not a problem.
Did I say something? Sorry.
Yeah. We heard it. Okay, outside.
Where did Richie Rich go? Of course, our poll this morning. Do we have any more votes? Edwin Marshall says yes. A lot of measures have been put in place. Exactly. Our poll this morning. Oh, did I give you the results of the poll from yesterday? No, I did not. Our poll yesterday, final results now, is do you agree with locking up men who consistently refuse to pay child support or maintenance? 78% said yes. 78.
Well, based on a story, an erroneous story disseminated by Steve Khan.
Well, I don't know where Richard disappeared to. He has the result of our poll.
I can give the results.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
We had 24 people voting on the poll this morning. And of course, our poll is or was, do you agree with changing the law to be able to take homeless people off the street? 24 people voted on the poll. 23 of you said yes, you do agree with changing the law. One person said no. And I believe they were concerned about the rights issue of detaining people, etc.
Which is a valid concern.
Yeah.
So that's the result. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, through our programming, and we'll give you the final results tomorrow morning, which will be Friday, because the weekend begins tonight, people, at a second after midnight, because it's Thursday today. And you know we love weekends on the Power Breakfast Show.
It would have to be that the police are accompanied by a mental health care professional, certified or qualified under the Medical Act of Trinidad and Tobago, or someone who can identify that they seem to be addicted, but then anybody can be addicted and walking on the street. So the police could grab anybody if the law is not crafted properly and leaves loopholes for mischief. And as I said earlier on, it would have to be that you detain the person for a very limited time within which the state must make the professional diagnosis or determination that this person is in need of rehabilitation or some protocol in a particular time, because the state can one hold you for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and do administer proper protocols to determine if you have a mental health issue or an addiction issue that has you on the street, and the state must provide remediation and mandate that you be in this facility for only a limited time while rehabilitation is ongoing and assessments taking place on a regular basis to see if you are fit to be released. Because you don't want it that, well, it become a dumping ground, because that's very easy to happen.
Yeah, that it becomes a dumping ground, or that the law is abused.
Or that the law is abused, which is quite possible, because laws are abused quite often in this country.
Very much so.
Yeah. I find you looking homeless.
Fine, so I'm glad you're qualified to make that determination.
No, I'm just talking in terms of a police officer. And,
okay.
And somebody having an interaction with them now.
Or me. Or I dancing in the street and they find I look like I have a mental health care issue.
Yeah.
That can happen.
You look like you homeless. Or take him in.
Come. Handcuff and van according to Steve, and then you're detained for 48 hours or 2 weeks or a month, and nobody can come and test you. And you're in this place and you just disappear. And then a year pass and nobody applied protocol to you for rehabilitation. So it's like you're basically in prison on South Key. Not so?
Can happen.
Exactly, and that's why I understand Guy Small's concern, but
Yeah.
the protocols and the parameters have to be very clearly outlined
Yeah.
because
And
at
the
the end of the day,
timelines,
you're taking away somebody's liberty.
yeah, and the timelines associated with it.
Yeah, and
And
if the state flouts that, the state need to have serious consequences against it.
the review process, how it extends a timeline, all those things. It's going to be it will have to be a law that's pretty well thought out, actually.
Mm-hmm. That's what we have Parliament for, and we see how it goes. And also the personnel to man that center, because we have all heard over the decades we're alive in this country about the shortcomings of St. Anne's
Mm-hmm.
as a facility. So you don't want to repeat it that people walking in and out. Sometimes the level of care is not what it should have been over the years in some instances. And all of that. Because we've all heard about, I've been in there twice, not committed, just on academic excursions. Let me just make it clear, because I know Steve could jump out himself.
I think I was in there once, I can't remember for what reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it was brief, and I was just stunned at the level of
Squalor. That's the word. Squalor.
Yeah, and you're just thinking, in a country that has had so much money, because mentally ill people are a vulnerable group.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would want the facilities to be of a standard that understands that this is a vulnerable group that you need to take care of. And that wasn't evident when I visited. I mean, this is years and years ago. I don't know how much has changed.
And the issue, so and it's really complicated, because if you think about the issue related to somebody who would have had mental health care challenges, and let's just say the law is passed for conversation's sake, and the person is detained and put through the protocol, and their drug addiction problem or their mental health care problem remediated to a particular level. If and when you're released and you come back out and you don't have opportunities, the tendency for recidivism is so high, you understand? Because of frustration, that it becomes a revolving door like the prison. So that's the other side of it. Because then, where did you work in the last 5 years? Well, I didn't work because I had a mental health care or drug addiction problem. I ain't hiring you.
Mm-hmm. That's very real.
You understand? So then the person now is outside, they can't get a job, and they go back into a cycle of poverty or reject, and they veer off back into the mental health care issue, depression, some sort of psychosis, or the drug addiction, because it's just, life is not treating me good, Because people who don't have those issues have challenges getting jobs and taking care of themselves. So that's the other side of it. So how are we going to remediate that part of it? Because the reason that some people go back into the cycle of drug abuse is because society kind of rejects them after they have the stigma of being diagnosed with a mental health issue or a drug addiction issue.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It's a complex thing, but it has to be tackled.
Yeah.
All right. We could take out some of the international number and have a discussion.
866-525-1099. That's directly into our studio. Toll-free number is working to talk. Flo.
I think I should have enough juice in the UPS to get me to 8 o'clock.
All right, let's hope so. Good morning.
Morning, gentlemen. How is everyone? This is Big Guy here. How are you all doing?
Stranger, what's going on?
Good morning, Big Guy.
I am great. I'm just enjoying the hot weather up here.
Hot is more like scorching.
Yeah, it's scorching. With respect to the poll this morning, it's very euphoric in nature. Gives you the feeling, they can pass laws and the streets would be free of all street dwellers. But as Dr. Paul rightly said, it's very challenging to do that because you have those people who choose to live on the street And you can't just take away their rights because they choose to go to the streets. The mental health ones, you have to have someone to evaluate them immediately on the spot. And that's with respect to that. I have a mentally challenged brother in Trinidad. He looks homeless, he dresses homeless, but he comes home every night and he sleeps home every night. It would be, it would be very disconcerting for me to hear that a van passed with a doctor and 2 police, and they picked him up and took him somewhere. So it's a very challenging thing, and something that can't end. It's up here, you can't end it anywhere unless you live in a dictatorial state. I was renting to a guy up here who became mentally challenged, and one day he tried to rush into my apartment, and I pushed him back out. I was coupling him on the street, and the police came. And when they saw us, they pulled aside, and they came to arrest us. I said, well, he's mentally challenged. You know what he told me? They have no clear qualified to evaluate that. They'll arrest both of us. So it's a very challenging thing. It's very euphoric in nature. Oh, the streets are clean. We have nobody in the street, no street dwellers. But it's a very challenging situation to get those people off the streets. That's just my take on it. Okay, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Big guy.
Okay, and that's part of it. But I guess what should happen is that you debrief the person and ask them, are you homeless? And if they say, no, I'm not homeless, where can you provide proof of your living arrangements? And if that person, big guy's brother, says, I live at X street in the X area, then they don't qualify for being taken off the street. You understand?
Yeah.
Because they have the right to walk around all day. If I feel to walk around all day, I am under no curfew. You understand? You can't determine that I should be taken up because I'm just walking around. Or as the guy said, I look homeless. Well, you understand? But if somebody is observed to be sleeping under the pavement or on a culvert or something like that, I guess that's different. Are there present laws about loitering? I think not so.
Yeah, there are loitering laws.
Yeah, loitering laws can be applied, but you can't take people up and detain them for loitering. You can ask them to move. And I think it's a fine. It's not a custodial sentence, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe it's a fine.
Yeah. So
you could be charged.
That some homeless people don't have the money to pay. Remember the situation with the during the pandemic and the masks, the law, and what are you going to charge homeless people for not wearing masks? You understand? That came up.
Yep.
So they started distributing free masks to persons who seem to be homeless. So, but it's a complex situation, but state and the idea is never going to be to think that you can deal with all the situations. That's just not going to happen. It's too varied, it's too widespread, and it's too complex. But you could certainly start by dealing with the persons who are open to and who have the potential to be rehabilitated. I think it's also the responsibility of the state from that side of it to do something about it, and not just say, well, they're on drugs, or well, they're mentally ill and we can't do nothing about it. The state can intervene in many cases. And you can have success stories. I was going to say 222 talk, but then I realized that ain't really work.
Yeah. So only you can send messages, so we can read your messages with regard to the topic.
Good morning, Shireen.
Yeah, we can't take calls except for the 866-525-1099 number. You can call us at that number, especially those of you in North America. That number is working. Our local lines are down.
Thank you, Flo.
Through the providers' issues.
Zena said that Strong is going to buy a Magic Jack for her, but like he coming up to the scratcher throats, like I'd buy the Magic Jack for Zena myself.
Well, yeah, you can download the app, and I think she has your credit card number already, so it's just to do
exactly. She only went to buy Victoria's Secret. Only Victoria's Secret can have from a credit card account from Zena. And the secret is out already, so you're wasting money to buy Victoria because the secret out a long time, Zena. Now I know secret again.
You're on a very lonely path as you walk down it.
Yeah.
Even I are weaving it.
We're not going to see anything.
Victoria's Secret again. It's just Victoria now. As a matter of fact, it ain't Victoria, it's Vic. Because Victoria kind of way off now.
Even further down the path. Hey, Paul.
New York, save me.
Good
And
morning.
good
Morning,
morning.
New York.
Good morning. Gentlemen, good morning. I'm listening to the discussion and the comments made by Senator Paul, Dr. Paul. I live in New York City, obviously, but I must admit that the city council, the mayor, and his policies and initiatives about the homeless, he has a success story. And I would strongly recommend that the authorities in Trinidad could maybe seek some guidance and assistance to help them because I mean, Senator Paul may have been visiting New York for years, and I mean, if you recently visited New York and go for the subways, you will see a lot less homeless people in the subways and on the streets of New York. They were setting up tents all over the city, and I mean, the city was able to solve those problems. I mean, break up these tents.
New York, would it be correct to state that New York has built a lot of centers with soup kitchens and stuff that people can come and go as they want?
Well, yes, that is so true. That is so true. But the city itself, I mean, I think what they, not right thing, but what they do is they take these people out of the streets into shelters, and from shelters, you bring them, they give them houses. But that has to go through a process of counseling. They interview them. Some of these people are happy to be taken to shelters because they're on the streets. Nobody to their families will take them on. And then, I mean, and they're happy to get these apartments. Although, I must admit, some of them find themselves back on the street for obvious reasons because they feel it's profitable for them to be out there on the street because people give them money. And again, there is a strong advocacy group in the city who advocates for these people. I mean, even when the police, they were taking off the street, the advocates were strongly against that. And I mean, we're having demonstrations against, the rights of the homeless people being, eroded and all those things. So, I mean, there are ways and means of going about it. And I strongly suggest that Trinidad maybe seek some assistance or get some advice from the City Council of New York how they will go about doing those things.
One of the issues in New York, too, in North America, in fact, is that homeless people are likely to use shelters more, particularly when fall and winter come along. Because you don't want to be on the cold streets, which is not the case in Trinidad and Tobago.
And the police take them off the streets too. When it's cold weather, the police definitely have the right to take them off the streets. So, I mean, and I'm sure Big Guy could admit to the fact that there are a lot less homeless people in the subways and on the streets of New York City. Good conversation.
You're right. I found there were less homeless people on the streets.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, New York, be safe.
Because when that cold hit in New York, so yes, find a shelter. But they've built a lot of shelters in New York. And they have a lot of soup kitchens. And it's not that they stay all the time, but they would go in and get a shower, get someplace to sleep, get something to eat, and go back out to the streets. So there's actually that's one of the ways you can have intervention also. It's not a detention, it's voluntary, but instead of begging on the street, you have a place to go, to have a shower, to rest if you want to, and to have something to eat. 866-525-1099.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, I got to call back again. This is the guy. From 2016 to 2020, I worked for the Department of Buildings. And we worked directly with the mayor. And we had to investigate, we had to inspect every year all the homeless shelters. And there were approximately 950 homeless shelters then. 600 of them were in the Bronx. And the rest was 300 and something were in Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. Staten Island had 2. And the police can't really take you off the street, as I said. But these will come to these shelters. You have families living in shelters, a husband, a wife, and 3 children. And they live there until they get housing. Okay? And so there are a lot of homeless. There are places for them to go. The problem happening now is immigrants. The immigrants are taking up all the spaces. Those immigrants coming from Texas or wherever are taking up all the extra spaces that they have. Okay, and that's a very, very big problem because 2 days ago, I was driving through Brooklyn, and on one corner, I saw like 20 Hispanics, I have to say. They look like Hispanics. I can't say what they were. They look like Hispanics hanging out on a corner, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
So the homeless problem is going to get bigger again because of what is about 80,000 immigrants up to now. It's going to get much bigger, you know. But as I said, they can't really take you off the street. They have your rights. They could influence you, try to influence you to go come off the street and offer you something, but they can't take you off the streets and like, well, come, let's go here, come, let's go. You know, only the, as we said, the mentally one. But there are less homeless people on the street at this point in time. There are much less, and I don't think anywhere in the world you could stop it unless it's a dictatorial state. I don't think anywhere in the world you can stop it. There will always have homeless people. And I don't want to quote the Bible, but in the Bible, there will always be poor people, always. That's how life is. All right, gentlemen?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, but the shelter approach to me is a productive approach because it also provides for persons who, even if you're not homeless, you may need something to eat. You know, you may have some place to sleep, but the other aspect of it is poverty. And homeless shelters and soup kitchens, which sometimes are joined and sometimes they're separate, are something that states put into place because of the need of those who just don't have in society. When I went to London the other day, we visited I forget the name of the place, but it's like a temple that lit in East London that literally fed, I think it's the Sikhs. They're a huge temple, beautiful temple, and they literally fed 4,000 people every day, who, although they live someplace, 4,000 every day, that they had homes, but they had no way of getting food or in some instances, basic supplies. So people anyone could walk in. There's a place to store your shoes, because you can walk in with your shoes, and you sat. And there was a water bay or a juice bay, and you got a plate, and you had a very simple meal, and you could come every day, 3 times a day, and get a meal. They opened at 5 in the morning and closed at 9 at night. But that was a religious institution. But the state also had soup kitchens where people could go in and get a shower and get a meal. So, I mean, states understand that all states go through this. There are circumstances that befall some people who need help, who need an intervention, you know? And I think that's the humanitarian way to go, and not just judge and say, well, they this and that, and they come here, or they, in the case of migrants, or they do this in their life and they deserve that. The state has to intervene there, as the caller just said. There'll always be people who fall below the poverty line and can't provide for themselves for one reason or another.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how much of a migrant problem we would have, as he raised it, with regard to homeless migrants.
Mm-hmm. Who, as he said, took up the spaces in the shelters.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, I do have Mr. Russell Chan online, and he's with the, if you want to call it, the kitchen of Love All, Serve All. Russell, I have it correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And what this kitchen does, and it's actually at the bottom of Abercrombie Street, where every day they cook meals and distribute to the homeless. So good morning to you, Russell.
Hi, good morning. Good morning to you and the nation.
Yeah, we have Paul Richard.
Russell, what's the organization's name again? Sorry.
Well, we call it the Love All, Serve All. Right? Some people call it the Joy of Giving. It evolves, but the registered name is Love All, Serve All.
Right. How many homeless people do you think, and just use Port of Spain, for example, are there in Port of Spain? Now, you interact with the unfortunate daily.
Yes.
Every evening.
Yes, every evening. We We started about 6 years ago. We cook every night. We have a nice kitchen facility now because it evolves all the time. We do about 250 meals every evening. And we feed about 250 people. I would say there are about 60, 65 people that live on the street. It could be more. So that's what we deal with. We crossed over 600,000 meals so far since we started.
And that's been how long is that? 6 years?
Yeah, about 6 years now.
And this is in the Port of Spain area alone or other areas?
We do the whole, Port of Spain, we drive around. So we go and we know where people are. So we go drive around and distribute. We start by the library. We go down to George Street, Frederick Street. We go to Belmont. There's our brother in Belmont that collects about 30 meals every night, Michael. And then when we have extra, we go down to, the Riverside Plaza, which was used as a shelter, but they closed it a while back. And the people gather in front now.
That shelter is closed?
Yes, it is. They barred it off, yeah.
I believe the government, I was called to a meeting about 2 weeks ago with a lot of NGOs, and I believe they are turned sort of new building yesterday, which they're going to build. And, they asked us for our input, and we want to be part of that facility, to provide a rehabilitation program, an assessment program for our people to catch themselves and get back on their feet again and be reintegrated back into society. Because we not only do meals, we provide medication, we provide clothes. The kitchen turns into a shelter, provide meals when there is flooding throughout the country. So the kitchen does a lot. It's far-reaching all over. And sometimes people just need people to talk to, or to find.
Russell, what's your...
Go ahead, Paul.
Sure.
I think he's
frozen.
Yeah.
Right. We're doing the show by Zoom. Two of them are home. I'm in the office. He's frozen. Yeah. But go ahead, Paul. We can hear you now.
Russell, how is the operation run? Who funds you? Is it goodwill of people, donations? How many people are part of this wonderful organization?
Well, it started off, people, just good people come by, our friends, people hear what we're doing, people donate stuff. I personally do every Tuesday, so I will sponsor every Tuesday. And then somebody will do Wednesday, somebody come Thursday, Friday. So it has gotten bigger and bigger. People come and do their birthdays there. They'll come and bring their aunties, their uncles, their families. Companies will come and bring their staff. So, the kitchen could hold 15, 20 people. So people come and cook there. And it's a both-win situation where it builds teamwork and effort amongst family and friends and companies. And it really does both ends of the scale. It helps the people that come to provide the meals. We have a lot of support from the international school, the Canadian school. A lot of schools, a lot of people come and they cook in the kitchen. You have kids come in to partake and putting out the food, the meals, and then going to distribute.
Do people actually come into the premises and eat on the premises? Because I heard you talk about delivery. It's only a kitchen facility.
It's just a kitchen to cook, but people used to come outside. But we asked them to gather by the library. So we will go there and we have one or two little points where people will gather. And, what was quite amazing when we first started, the people were really, really looking bad, unkept, very, really bad. And now when you look at how they look now, they sort of, they take care of themselves now and they present themselves a little better. And, when I ask people, I said, but how are you looking like this now? He said, well, I know you're all coming to have dinner with me, so I have to dress myself. I have to be presentable for dinner. So there's a lot of learning lessons for us. I don't think anybody wants to be homeless. And if you have certain challenges mentally and so on, you have no choice, I guess. But I don't think from all my interactions with people, nobody wants to be homeless.
Have you been able to, in any way, on a voluntary method that is, start a database collecting names? Is that something that you do to try and collect information on people? So I guess the authorities can better intervene if they have some sort of data to work with.
Well, I don't think we really got into that part of it because we gained the trust of the people, and we really didn't want to get too technical. But yes, I mean, we know a lot of them by name. Our group has gotten very big now, so we have so many people involved in our kitchen that I don't even know a lot of people. But everybody does their own thing. So a lot of people know, yes, we know people names. We don't have much documented information, but a lot of people do meals and stuff in a day. So in our meeting with the social ministry, they do a lot of data collection. The ministry has collection in a day, but we do it in a night. So we told them to come out with us, What you see in a day is not what you see in a night with a lot of these people. So, but it's quite easy to get, because we know a lot.
What have you found in the last 6 years to be the most urgent challenges facing people on the streets?
Well, we provide a nice hot meal, a nutritious meal, right? Facilities, people need facilities. I would say people need counseling, and people just need love. Sometimes people are lost; they can't find their family. We have had instances where people came to us and said, there was a guy sleeping in front of the kitchen, and he said he wanted to change his life, and he was a former football player. And we provided him with clothes, shelter. We sent him to the rehab in Preparo, and he caught himself. He reunited with his family. So a lot of times people just need love, somebody to talk to, somebody to try and get them back on their feet. And I was suggesting you today, when you have a reassessment of these people, they could go through a program and then be reintegrated back into society via certification. People will hire them again, or they could go and find maybe some of them. I know some of them will. There's a guy, Richard, there, right there by Guardian Building. He's there for 5 years, and he said his place burned down where he used to work, and then he was out of a job. So there are simple cases like that. That if you go through a program and you get that sort of reintegration back into society, maybe a job letter or somewhere that show that where you went through a program, I am sure people will hire them, or they will find their way back into society again.
How much of because you're constantly interacting with people in need, how much of that have you started to see migrants or Venezuelans as part of your pool, or you're not seeing them at all?
No, I don't. We don't see. I mean, we don't see much Venezuelans. We more see a lot of old, people that are old, like forgotten in society. People with mentally challenged people. People that simply lost their jobs and they fell off the wagon. There is drug abuse on the streets, but I think, our program has been very successful, I would think, because we interact every day and you get a meal every day. So that helps. Nutrition helps, and I have really seen the difference.
Do you see new people added to your group in terms of the people that you serve, or is it the same regular faces every day when you provide those meals?
Yeah, well, it's the same regular people, but you will have, I have noticed regulars have moved on, or they have gotten better or back out into society. And you will see some new ones come in every so often. That's what it's about. But a lot of times these people, when we first started, a lot of my group was scared of these people. And, when you really interact with these people, they're just normal people looking for help or looking for a way forward. Someone just to reach out a hand and help them back,
What percentage?
We've never had any bad incidents on the streets, All good, all positive.
Yeah. What percentage of homeless folks that we have are drug addicts and or ill?
Well, I can't really say for sure because some people, when show you that in the open, but maybe 20%, I would say, out on the streets that are full-blown addicts. But of course, our program, we pray a lot, and it's a spiritual journey too, because we, before we distribute the food, we all hold hands and we pray on the food. And so we look at it as a bigger thing. And I think we have seen a lot of results. Don't ever rule out prayer in this, because we have experienced a lot of spiritual experiences, and I'll leave it there in this program.
If someone wants to donate food or raw material for food, how and where can they do so? Or do you encourage that at all?
No, sure. I mean, the program is very open, People come, they drop off food stuff. I mean, farmers will come and drop off stuff. Just friends may say, well, look, I'll drop a bag of peas for you, or rice. We don't do meat. We don't cook any meat. So it's all vegetarian. So, just good people come and support the kitchen. A guy dropped a pumpkin the other day. So it could be big, it could be small. We welcome,
All right. So how do they get in contact with you?
Well, they can usually call me or Devish Maharaj. It's down at his building in Abercrombie Street, Mansfield Chambers downstairs. So it's right on the main road. And every evening, you could smell the nice aromas coming out of that kitchen. Actually, people walk by and say they want to buy food and stuff. And we said, no, and we end up pulling them in the kitchen to help us volunteer. So we always encourage people to come and help us cook out, put out the food every day.
And if you don't know where that is, when you're coming up Abercrombie Street, from Independence Square, you're going to pass it's on the right side. You're going to pass the flower shop. It's really in the middle before Queen Street. I know TT Post had an office there, and if you know where that was, it's right there. Pretty much, you'll just see an alleyway, a corridor, and it's right there.
So it's number 23. There's a glass front, orange wrought iron gate, and you could actually peep in and see the kitchen from the main road, and people cooking and stuff. So we always welcome people to come and help volunteer.
Michael, what's your position in this? If you have a designation at all? Oh, sorry, Russell.
Sorry?
What's your position at Love All, Serve All?
Well, I am just one of the founding members on the foundation. That's all really. I'm on the board. So
okay. Well, I just want to congratulate you. I think this is such an amazing initiative, and that you've decided to do something about a situation that has been pervasive in this country, and people are coming together and helping you. Is just such great news this morning, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Well, my friend invited me 6 years ago, because every year they do it with part of the SAI organization, and they do for 8 days. And when I got involved, I said, but the 8 days are over, so what are we doing this evening? So, my friend David said, well, it's finished. I said, no, let's just cook again. And we never stopped. So we were actually, David and myself and one or two people were cooking for like 20 people in the evening. We didn't know what we were doing. We were distributing all 12 in the night. And we finally got the method, and we got it better and better. And David built a beautiful kitchen downstairs. And it just grew, and that shows you, anything could be fixed if you put your mind to it. Start one at a time, feed 10 people, went to 20, now 250, it goes up to 300. So we were tired. I was personally tired seeing people homeless and hungry, walking around with, tattered clothes for years. So it's really a passion of mine that I really would like to see. I wouldn't like to see any homeless people on the streets. We have too much of a
country. Our question this morning, based on what the minister said yesterday, is that they're planning to bring a law or change the law to be able to, under specific circumstances, take people off the street for rehabilitation. Would you support that?
I would support it. What if people like us are involved, because it's a sensitive issue. Because you obviously don't want people being taken advantage of by the law. But yes, there are people that may decide that I want to be homeless. Some of them wanted to, and they may sit down, and they may, because of mental challenges, I would support that legislation that, listen, you can't be here you need to go to a shelter. We have a rehab center for you, and I would support that 100%, because people are just lost out there. They just don't know where to go, where to turn. And yes, we in our cities, in our country, we should have a place for people who need that sort of help to go through that process. Because as I said, these 6 years out there, I have never really seen anybody that wants to be homeless. There are mental challenges out there.
And drug addiction. Russell, thank you so much for chatting with us, and congratulations on this great with you and your colleagues and those who participate.
Thank you so much, and you all are doing an excellent job by helping us to highlight. Who knows? You'll pull some of your audience may come down and help us put out some food and spread the love. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you for speaking with us, Mr. Russell Chan. Thank you.
Okay, God bless.
All right, all the best to you.
They're always good people doing stuff.
Yeah, and they've been doing it for years, and we actually have mutual friends that not only donate but actually go down and help cook and distribute. And he has sent some videos at times when they pull up with the meals, that and they are well behaved and organized. They're not rushing and hand sticking here. They line up, they take their food, and they move on. It's quite civilized how those in need receive the goodwill of this.
If you treat people in a respectful, civilized manner, they kind of conform after a while.
Yeah, they do. They do. You could go down.
That's a great story.
Yeah. It's one of those feel good stories, and that's what we need. We need these in various communities, and of course, everything is being donated and volunteered. So they're actually doing an amazing job there, and they really all 11 o'clock in the night they go out and distribute from 6 in the evening, and they just drive around. You need a meal? Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. And they take their meal. But I did not know that Riverside Plaza, so-called homeless shelter, I did not know that was closed.
Yeah, that's closed for a while now.
Yeah, I did not know that. And if you all know why it was closed?
It was maybe well-intentioned, but it was poor for the state to be contributing to that sort of squalor.
Yeah, especially in a car park of all things.
Yeah, so
there are so many vacant buildings in Port of Spain. Just not Port of Spain.
I don't know that vacant buildings next to businesses are appropriate.
No,
but so that may not be the answer. But certainly, we took a while for the state to be building a specific facility designed for this.
Where's this facility being built, Paul?
Next to the mosquito spa on the bus route. As you come out of City Gate on the heading east on the left side, there's a place that's been barred around.
Yeah. Let's say you're on the bus route and you come off the bus route and you turn left to go to Port of Spain. There's a mosquito spa right there, and then it's galvanized right before the river.
Where they had that track to avoid.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's the location.
Yeah, that's the location for it. And did they say when that will be completed or no?
I think the minister said is it 2025? I think 2025, late 2024, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, good news. Anyway, you all have a great day.
The UPS held out there, Paul.
Almost.
Tell mom we sent
I have the internet onto it and the computer. So
yeah,
the most important things.
That's long. But tell mom when you go later, we send all our love.
Thanks.
Yes,
for sure.
Definitely.
All right, so have a fantastic day, people. Of course, it is Thursday, so the weekend begins tonight at a second after midnight. So put a smile on your face as we head to Friday tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do, and we'll speak to you bright and early tomorrow morning.